The head of the UN's nuclear agency says recent U.S. airstrikes on Iran did not completely destroy its nuclear program, and that Iran could restart uranium enrichment within months. This contradicts President Donald Trump's repeated claims that the U.S. had set Iran's nuclear efforts back by decades. Rafael Grossi's statement supports early findings by the Pentagon's Defense Intelligence Agency, which suggests that last week's U.S. strikes on major Iranian nuclear sites caused limited damage and likely delayed Iran's program by only a few months. Although the full military and intelligence review is still ongoing, Trump has said multiple times that the U.S. completely obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities. The conflict began 12 days ago when Israel launched a surprise attack, claiming it aimed to stop Iran from building a nuclear bomb. Iran maintains that its nuclear program is only for peaceful purposes. Following Israel's attack, the U.S. targeted 3 key Iranian nuclear facilities before both sides agreed to a ceasefire. However, the true impact of those strikes on Iran's nuclear program remains unclear and widely debated. U.S. military leaders have shared some details about how the strikes were planned, but have not provided solid evidence proving they significantly crippled Iran's nuclear capabilities. A newspaper in Israel said that Israeli soldiers were told to shoot unarmed people waiting for food in Gaza. But Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, said this is not true and called the report a lie. The head of the aid group giving out food, called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, also said that his group is not responsible for the many deaths. He said the United Nations and other groups are sharing wrong information. A reporter in Jerusalem, Lucy Williamson, showed video clips of people in Gaza trying to get food. She said Israel told people to walk through dangerous war zones to reach the food. One man said, "This is not food, it's death. I don't want to eat if I'll be shot at." Videos showed panic and shooting near the food areas. The UN says more than 400 people were killed by Israeli soldiers near the food sites in 1 month. A man named Abdullah Naj said he was shot while trying to get food for his family. He said, "There was a lot of shooting. This food has the taste of blood." He warned people not to go, saying the same thing happens every day. People die or get hurt, and hospitals are full. The head of the aid group said it's not true that all the deaths happened because of his group or the Israeli army. He said the UN is blaming them unfairly. The Israeli army also said the shooting report is not true and that they're looking into the incidents. The Prime Minister said the news report was meant to make the army look bad. Because of a long food shortage, many people in Gaza are taking big risks to get food, even if it means they could be killed. U.S. President Donald Trump suddenly announced over the weekend that the United States is ending all trade talks with Canada. The decision came after Canada passed a new digital services tax targeting major American tech companies like Apple, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. Trump called the tax a direct and blatant attack on the United States and stated, "We are no longer negotiating. You'll take what we give, and that's it." Peter Switzer, founder of the Switzer Report, commented that while Australia is not in the same position as Canada, it could be affected because it also wants to impose taxes on large tech companies that avoid paying local taxes. Interestingly, markets were performing well before Trump's announcement. This was partly due to a ceasefire in the Middle East and a statement from Trump's press secretary suggesting that the July 9 trade deadline wasn't a critical issue, giving hope that Trump might remain flexible. Anchor's question: is this just Trump's negotiation tactic? Switzer's response: probably. Trump often starts with a tough position and softens later. That's likely why markets didn't panic. Investors believe he may eventually ease up. Economic data to watch this week. Switzer noted that building approvals and retail trade figures will be released. If these numbers show continued weakness, the Reserve Bank may respond by cutting interest rates, possibly by 50 basis points in one go. Anchor's follow-up: wouldn't such a big cut suggest the economy is in worse shape than expected? Switzer: the economy is already slow and inflation is falling. Both signs that a larger rate cut could be necessary to boost confidence. However, housing supply remains a serious issue in Australia, and that's something only state and federal governments can fix. The Reserve Bank alone can't manage house prices. Anchor. Thanks, Pete. We'll catch up with you again next week.